store, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Over the last few weeks, we've talked about how news has been a little slow for modern day Star Wars, and we've been kind of expecting kind of a bombshell of a news report. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We got that bombshell.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
We got that bombshell, and we will get to that. We will get to that. Sorry for the tease, people.
That's what you call a tease, yeah.
Sorry for the tease, but you don't start heavy and then end slow. It's just not how it works. I mean, it's not good business.
I like it.
Business as if this were a business. This is
Right.
two dudes talking Star Wars.
Exactly.
But, you just save the best for last because you know you're going to run on that.
For sure.
We are going to run with that. And of course, save the best for last. We're going to save the Clone Wars for last, but
Hey.
So in other news, I got a question, Doug.
Yep.
Since when has it been such a thing to talk about people who are not going to do Star Wars?
Well, this is kind of like that lack of news thing you were talking about. I mean, if we can't find a bunch of people like lining up to do Star Wars, let's talk about the ones who say, no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, but it's been a thing for a while to ask directors, writers, actors, are you doing Star Wars? Would you be interested in doing Star Wars? That's been a thing for a while.
Decades, yes. For sure.
But never has it been like such big news to say, oh my God, they say they don't want to do Star Wars.
Well, that's in the past, that's been a really rare thing when you think about it.
Yeah, I guess most people say, yeah, oh, that'd be great. I'd love to do Star Wars.
Exactly. That's exactly what most people think or say. But
I think that was before Twitter.
Before Twitter, yes. And before we see the, how do you put it? The pile of casualties of directors and things surrounded by Star Wars projects. We could start naming.
Well, I mean, so the great answer now would be, well, I don't want to start a Star Wars project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they call me to finish something up that someone else started,
yeah,
then I'm in. Yeah.
I'm in. That means I'm probably actually going to get my name on it.
Exactly.
Being the first one in is like.
Well, it worked out okay for Gareth Edwards, really, because he's still attached to Rogue One. Although,
yeah, but I mean, so Gareth, I think, is like the exception to the rule lately.
This is true.
But I think it's because Gareth, like, they said, okay, we don't like the way this is going. He's like, okay, well, how do we make it right? And they're like, oh, you can stay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like Lord and Miller are like, I'm not doing that. They're like, get the hell out.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think Gareth's ability to work with others is what kept him attached.
I would agree. Yes.
So, yeah. And Gareth's been a lot of fun to have attached to Star Wars. So, yeah, I'm glad they kept him involved.
Right.
But the newest addition to I don't want to do that, is James Gunn.
Wow. Interesting.
I find this one kind of shocking.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, I mean, Guardians, have you watched it?
Well, of course. But
it screams Star Wars, man.
Yeah, okay. I have no doubt that he could put something together that's really cool.
I just say that because the way he does films,
yeah,
has a very Star Wars-esque feel to it. And it just seems like, wow, this guy's a fan. And I think he's said he's a fan.
Yeah.
Don't quote me.
Right. I'm considering the simple fact that you're a fan maybe gives him more insight into the, I wouldn't want to be the guy to go in there and mess this up. You know what I'm saying?
Either that or it's like, I really, really love Star Wars. I don't need a reason to hate it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an interesting take on this because, I
could empathize with that. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to find a reason to hate Star Wars.
Oh, for sure. But it all depends on the person. Okay. I might have told this story before. Okay. Forgive me if I did, but my father is a big golfer, right? He golfs for the fun of it, really enjoys it. And he also likes drag racing. So he was shocked one time to see one of his favorite golfers, I think it's Kenny Perry, I think his name is, at the drag strip, racing a car. And he approached him and said, "Hey, what are you doing drag racing?" He's like, "Oh, this is what I do for fun. Golfing is my job," right? He's like, "Wow, that's work. But for my dad, golfing is relaxation." So if you enjoy Star Wars, maybe you don't want to
make it your job.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that because for instance, you talk about how we've talked about podcasts. We don't want Star Wars podcasting to be a job. We don't want it to ever feel like a job.
Exactly.
So yeah, I can see that. I can see that. You don't want it to feel like a job because a job you tend to, even though you may love it for a while, you tend to start to have problems with it because it's a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look at it differently than hobbies.
For sure.
So, yeah, not necessarily saying you have to hate your job. Golf is probably a job for him. Might not hate it.
Right.
You probably don't hate going to work because he's golfing.
Exactly.
But he still looks at it as a job. So it's got a certain amount of stress attached to it.
Absolutely. Yes, he must perform. He can't go out there and have an off day golfing, like my dad can. Yeah.
And go, at least the beer is cold.
Exactly.
It's different.
Yeah.
Because that's how golf is for me, because golf never goes well.
You can't have that a bad day on the golf course is better than a good day at work. That attitude doesn't work there, Yeah,
not when golf is your job.
Right.
That's your source of income. If you have a bad day, your income sucks.
Exactly.
But so James Gunn said, he was asked if he'd ever want to delve into George Lucas's iconic world, right?
Yep.
And he says, it doesn't really interest me as a filmmaker. He says, I can't think of any franchises I'd want to join other than the ones I'm already part of.
Wow. Doesn't interest him. Well, I guess that's, that could be his way of expressing that angle we were just talking about. It doesn't interest him, or maybe he's not as big of a fan as we thought. I don't know.
Now he does say, doesn't interest me as a filmmaker.
Right.
Maybe because he's obviously a sci-fi comic book, things like that fan.
Yeah, totally.
You can't write like that if you're not.
Right.
You can't inject so much Han Solo into Star-Lord.
Right.
If you're not at least partially a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So I think whether he's a huge Star Wars fan or not is not the question here. He is he's obviously at least a little bit of a fan.
Yeah. A fan to some degree.
And I think that just goes with the territory for, his obvious writing style.
Uh-huh.
He likes that sci-fi stuff. He likes that comic book stuff. You wouldn't get involved in if you don't. When you're a filmmaker, you have choices, right?
Yep.
You get to choose what you get involved with and what you don't get involved with. It's not so cut and dry as like, okay, I am a mechanic, so I can only do mechanic stuff. Right. Or I am a, carpenter, so I can only do carpenter stuff. When you're a filmmaker, you know how to make films.
Yeah.
I don't think you're limited to, I can only do sci-fi or I can only do this. There's so many filmmakers that bridge so many.
I was going to say, yeah, there's many that have proven that not to be the case.
Yeah, it comes down to, can you make something appear good on screen?
Yeah, totally.
So, he's obviously got an interest in the, sci-fi comic book, realm.
Uh-huh.
To say no to Star Wars is kind of crazy, but
hey,
at the same time, he's got a good thing going.
Like we said, maybe it all boils down to the fact that there's kind of like a body count with with the people in those positions in Star Wars these days. You never know. It might have something to do with it.
I mean, and I can only speak for me here, right?
Yeah.
But say I was in James Gunn's shoes.
Yeah.
And people are asking me, hey, would you ever be interested in doing Star Wars? And I look over and see Bob Iger is stepping down as CEO to get more involved in the creative side of.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell no.
Uh-huh. That's you make a good point there. Yeah, I'd forgotten that recently happened. That's definitely something to consider for anyone getting involved in these projects.
So,
yeah.
I thought it was funny. That just went further than I thought it would. I thought it was funny that now we're reporting on who doesn't want to do Star Wars.
Yeah, well, guess it makes the news, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Guardians is a huge success. It's Marvel, so he's already tied to Disney in some way.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, it makes sense to ask him, I guess. Makes sense to report on it. Like, he doesn't even want to work in his own company.
Too funny.
All right. Are we ready for the news?
I'm ready.
The big news?
I'm ready.
Well, I guess I'll put it this way. We've heard this time and time again recently, and it's something we love hearing every time we hear it. Ahsoka lives.
Yes. Yes. We will never forget the wardrobe change from Dave Filoni. Right?
The movement that grabbed Ashley Eckstein, got her so involved with that. Like, it was huge.
Yes.
And Dave joined in.
Yes.
Yeah, the Ahsoka Lives ? And then the Ahsoka Lives !
Yes.
That was a celebration moment I'll never forget.
Exactly.
I was there.
Yeah, I wasn't that fortunate, but I remember seeing it. It was pretty cool.
So, but yes, Ahsoka Lives. Still rumor at this point. Throw that little disclaimer out there. Though
it's a pretty verified rumor.
It's a pretty damn good rumor. Like, some pretty big news organizations are putting their name behind this.
Yes.
Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Slash Film.
Yes. Slash Film broke
obviously
it.
Variety being the big one there.
Yeah.
Slash Film broke it.
Yes.
But once Slash Film broke it, Hollywood Reporter then put their 2 cents in, and it got a little more legs. And now Variety, and it's like, oh damn.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about in this long drawn out introduction is Rosario Dawson is rumored to be playing Ahsoka Tano in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Oh my gosh, this is something we've all been asking for. We've been clamoring for a live action Ahsoka.
for a long time.
That was my reaction when I first saw it. It was, wow. This is something we've been asking for. This is awesome. We're going to get it. Then my secondary reaction was, well, what about Ashley?
Yeah. That was my first reaction, honestly, is like, okay, is Ashley voicing her?
Right.
Because I had very little argument when I saw this. Like, you look at Rosario Dawson.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at a picture of Ahsoka side by side. Okay.
Yes. There is no question in my mind.
No question. But is Ashley voicing her?
Right. Well, I'm going to say, well, let me pop this up real quick because the official word here from Ashley herself is no.
Well, is no the official word?
Well,
or
okay. Here is...
Or did she say, I'm not involved?
Well, that's exactly what she said. Here. This is Ashley Eckstein in response to the news of Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka in live action. She says, "The truth is, I am not involved in The Mandalorian. I can't answer questions for something I have not been a part of."
Yet.
Yeah, there's one thing. "I am an actress and I have performed in all types of mediums, live action film, television, theater, voiceover, hosting, and it has been my dream for 14 years to continue to play Ahsoka Tano in all forms." It's been her dream, right? Can't crush this woman's dreams.
That's where I'm at.
She goes on to say, "I will continue to be grateful for opportunities to help create stories for Ahsoka Tano, and I am always happy to see her legacy continue. I am only one member of a tremendously talented team of people that it takes to bring Ahsoka Tano to life. The final decisions for Ahsoka are not mine to make, and I cannot comment on something that I truly know nothing about." So, I mean, we just got word, a couple weeks ago, season 2 wrapped filming. Yeah?
Yes.
So, I have a feeling, first off, I'm going to say this. I have a feeling that Ahsoka's going to be like, 1 or 2 episodes, right? It's not going to be all season long, Mando and Ahsoka. I think they're going to cross paths, having something to do with little, the child. And I think Ahsoka will be in 1 or 2 episodes, probably later on in the season. And post-production hasn't started on those yet. So the way those statements from Ashley are worded.
Oh, I was gonna do a little voiceover work myself here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I can see how this whole thing went down. It was, good job, Ashley, and voiceover work's done in post, so you didn't lie.
Exactly.
You're not involved yet.
Yes, not involved yet. I love, statements like, "I am only one member of a tremendously talented team of people that it takes to bring Ahsoka Tano to life." Well, I guess you're still a member then. That's okay. And
a huge member.
Right.
And
so working on The Mandalorian is something she truly knows nothing about because she hasn't done it yet. Right?
Always skeptical are Star Wars fans.
Well,
always skeptical.
I don't know.
I mean, I watched Harrison Ford take money and go, I heard they're making another one.
Yeah, exactly. That was, I don't know. Just think about.
Here's the thing.
Just think about how under wraps they kept Clone Wars season 7.
Yeah,
I mean,
fantastically.
Yes. So I would not be surprised. This statement is, I think it's veiling enough to where it's not lying to us. and it's also not giving anything away. What were you going to say? Sorry, I interrupted.
I don't remember.
Sorry.
Sorry. I know what I was going to say. So while Rosario Dawson really, really looks like Ahsoka,
Absolutely.
I've seen her in enough stuff and enough stuff that I like to know that she does not sound like Ahsoka.
Well, this is true.
I mean, granted, she is an actor.
Yeah.
And actors can sound like nothing we have ever heard out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of British actors and Australian actors and things like that speak with a perfect American accent.
Yes.
I mean, like Gerard Butler's notorious for that.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So just to clue all the listeners in on what you're talking about, I would love to play a clip here. And this clip goes back a little bit, which is, to listen to it now, it's kind of interesting because, Rosario had to know in October of last year she was going to be doing this, I would think anyway. So listening to this, she's talking with Entertainment Tonight, and they ask her the question. So here, check this out.
You're known for doing a lot of comic book roles. We've got, Marvel, DC, you've got Josie and the Pussycats, Sin City. Is there a franchise you would just love to tackle? Like, how do we get you in a Star Wars movie? I know it's not comic book, but...
Yo, the fans have been pushing for Ahsoka Tano for a minute now.
Yes.
Which would
that
be
was a
so
whole campaign.
Dope.
Yeah.
I know, like someone did the art and then I reposted it and then Star Wars started following me and then everybody started thinking it was a whole thing and it's just literally been this internet situation. So internet, if it happens, it's because of you. So thank you.
Would you love that?
That would be awesome, of course. That would be
would.
incredible. 2 lightsabers? I mean, if you're going to be a Jedi, might as well have 2 lightsabers.
Might as well have 2.
Right?
Oh my God.
So I think that right there kind of
in October, really?
Yeah, I know. But it also reinforces what you were just talking about. Her look, it's there 100%. The voice, I'm a little skeptical on. Especially since, okay, I'm going to take it down this road. Ashley's voice has been canonized in live action already.
Later than what we are talking about.
Yes.
So later in the canon.
Yes.
Ashley's voice.
Yes.
Now Rosario's voice.
Correct.
Ashley's voice.
So, I understand different people can do different voices and things like that, but this is Lucasfilm we're talking about. They're pretty good about bringing people back to, perform the same characters. We got a glimpse of Wicket in The Rise of Skywalker, and oh my God, how am I? I'm blanking on his name.
Oh no. You're blanking on his name and now I'm blanking on his name.
I'm sorry. Anyway, the same actor.
He's so involved in everything.
I know. I am a horrible Star Wars
Warwick
fan.
Davis.
Warwick Davis. Thank you very much. He played Wicket in The Rise of Skywalker. So, Lucasfilm was great at that sort of thing. I can only... it's pure speculation, but Ashley has to voice this character. She has to.
It's the only voice we've ever known. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we're going to know. Now, albeit we've accepted other voices in the past.
Yeah.
For characters, you
Yes.
know, like characters have had other actors voice them and we've accepted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with little to no pushback.
This is true.
You know?
Yeah.
Darth Maul,
Yes.
Palpatine,
Yep.
Han Solo.
So Han Solo being the exception, I will say a lot of these characters have gone from live action to animation. Okay. You're talking characters like Palpatine and stuff.
Right.
That's the direction they went. Now, Maul is a character who has gone from live action to animation.
Back to live action.
Back to live action. Exactly. So, and there again, though, the carryover was Sam Witwer from animation into live action.
Right.
So, this could be done.
Yeah, I mean, the voice could change. And it could be done well enough that we will totally accept it.
It's possible.
She could kill this and we would look like fools.
Yeah. Although, I don't know. I think we would.
I'd be a happy fool.
Yeah.
You know, if she takes this role and absolutely kills it to the point that I don't even care.
For sure. Yes.
I'd be a happy fool.
Yes.
But at the same time, you also have to acknowledge that we have a certain allegiance to Ashley Eckstein. It just happens.
Absolutely. I mean,
it's just a love. Like it's not only a character that we love, but it's a person that we've grown to love in Star Wars. She's been so involved.
Yes. She started her own company around the Star Wars fandom.
Yeah, that was her footing to take off.
Exactly.
And it's grown into so many other things with, you know, Doctor Who and Star Trek and, you know, every other franchise really.
Yeah.
But Star Wars was her launch pad.
Totally.
And Star Wars fans, we love Ashley Eckstein. She's one of us.
Yeah.
So there's a certain loyalty there. And that's probably fueling our, like, oh, she's got to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not just blind loyalty. We just love her as Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing to think about. Could be fine.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I just have a feeling that she is going to, you know, from that statement and how generic it is in certain points and how it really doesn't say, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it, but you know, hey, it's what we do. And I just think she's going to wind up being the voice. As soon as that character on the screen opens her mouth and says something, we're going to be like, yeah, you know? So here's the hope in that. I did want to bring up, though, a few weeks back, we were talking about Giancarlo Esposito and he was talking about what he was doing with the lightsaber and stuff.
Oh, yeah, with the Darksaber?
Yeah, here, just real quick refresher.
It feels powerful. It feels wonderful. I broke 3 of them last week. The prop guys are wondering about me because I was in, a bit of a commotion and a bit of a struggle with someone else, which I'm hoping you will enjoy when you see it. Major, epic lightsaber action happening on this show, and I should mention that I'm the only character in this first season who was able to be honored with having that lightsaber, so it feels wonderful.
So,
whoa, a little more hype to that.
That's what I'm saying.
A little more hype to that, and a little more doom and gloom for you, buddy, because
oh yeah,
if you're gonna cross blades with Ahsoka,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hearing that, putting that together with the fact that Ahsoka is going to be on this show. I mean, I'm building scenes in my head that just I can't wait for.
And you know what? With Ahsoka being involved in the show, I'm still not letting go of Sabine. I'm just throwing it out there.
I know.
They were together when we...
I know. Well, this leads me to the next piece of speculation I have on this that I want your thoughts on. It was commented on a 3 weeks ago. Some characters that we know from this show will be getting their own spin-offs. Do you think it could mean an Ahsoka live-action spin-off?
Oh, God, I hope so.
Oh, man. Could you imagine?
Oh, man, I hope so. That would be amazing.
I mean, the first place that everyone's mind went with when we heard that statement was Cara Dune, which, don't get me wrong,
would also be good.
It'd be great. But, oh, man, I just thought of this. You put a show together. You have Ahsoka, Sabine, Cara Dune. I mean, this is like Galaxy Far, Far Away, Charlie's Angels,
I mean, I'm on board.
Yeah,
I'm on board. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
And we say Ahsoka, we say Sabine. It's literally no offense to Cara Dune because sorry, they've been here for a while.
Yeah, but I gotta be honest. I think she'd fit right in.
Oh yeah, like it totally fits that like kind of group. Like it seems like a group she would join.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just wondering because as Star Wars fans, we're used to this. We get little tiny tidbits of info here and there sprinkled around, and it's like, okay, I gotta take this little piece and put it with this little piece, and let's see what we can speculate on. And
then they gotta go look for Ezra.
Oh yeah.
And then we get a live action Thrawn.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
I mean, so we get live action Ahsoka, Sabine, Thrawn.
I mean, we are shooting for the stars here with our hopes and dreams of this, but man, wouldn't that be something?
Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, this does mean one thing though. That means they're not very quick about finding Ezra.
True. Unless,
I mean, it's not super long either, but
who knows, man? Maybe Ezra is the one who gets to take care of the child. Maybe we see Ezra in this show. I don't know.
Oh man, this is getting crazy.
Yeah, I know.
The crossovers are strong.
Oh yes. And yeah, I do want to bring up. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull this up real quick because this is also something that this is another one of those little nuggets.
Quick question: are you about to branch off?
Well, no. This is
because I just had one more thing to say about what we were talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it kind of crazy? And you remember everybody's reaction back when the Clone Wars movie came out.
Yeah.
And how Ahsoka was received.
Yeah.
In a very negative way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is it kind of crazy to think about that Ahsoka is kind of becoming almost a linchpin in Star Wars?
It's crazy, but it feels so right, I mean,
I don't disagree. Like I adore this character.
Yeah.
Like we've seen this character grow more than any character in Star Wars. More than any character. Even Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
We've seen Ahsoka grow. Like it's just kind of crazy to me to think about that character that we saw back with that film has grown into this kind of character that's linking everything together.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ahsoka has become more of a linchpin in the Skywalker saga than some of the Skywalkers.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just wild.
Yeah. It is wild. So, okay, I'm talking about nuggets of information, right?
Yeah?
Here's another nugget that fuels my speculation on this spinoff. Okay, if you remember about not a month ago, back when we saw The Rise of Skywalker, so a few months ago, but
right.
We all heard Ahsoka's voice, okay, in the all the Jedi that come to support Rey, right?
Yep.
So we all thought, oh man, Ahsoka's dead, right? And then Dave Filoni responds to the fan base with, I have to wonder with Star Wars fans. They seem to watch the movies, but they don't take all the lessons. They deal a lot in absolutes, which is very much a Sith thing. I remember in Empire Strikes Back, Luke speaking out through the Force to Leia. Vader also does this at the end of Empire Strikes Back. There's no absoluteness that these people are dead. I mean, some of them we know are dead. So that's his response. So he's saying it just because we hear Ahsoka's voice in support of Rey taking on Palpatine doesn't mean she's gone. Doesn't mean she's become one with the Force yet. And he puts a couple good examples out there of how it could work. So her story...
it's because Ahsoka lives, man.
Her story may carry on, which I'm all for. Yeah. Let's make it a Disney Plus series and let's get this thing going.
Yeah. Disney Plus series. You hear that, Hunter? Talking to you, brother. I bet even Hunter's on board with that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. The character's amazing. The growth's amazing. The speculation about the character continuing is amazing.
Yes.
Who'd have thought?
Oh my God. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
I was getting ready to move on. So
move on.
Okay. Well, still on the subject of Ahsoka in a way. I just it ties into Ahsoka because obviously we're smack dab in the middle of Ahsoka's arc in the Clone Wars, which I guess ultimately will be her arcs, plural, in the Clone Wars.
Yep.
I ran across this someone who never disappoints when it comes to Star Wars is Sam Witwer. And he had something to say about the final arc in the Clone Wars. He says, the finale, that script, was the best Clone Wars script that I ever read. I think Dave has done a really very, very cool thing. When I say script, I don't mean when I'm talking about the finale. I'm talking about the last 4 episodes because it's really meant to be seen as a movie. These Clone Wars arcs that go on for 3 to 4 episodes, they could also be cut together as movies and they work as one story. But this one really is meant to be seen in its entirety together. More so than anything else we've ever done.
Ooh, that's cool.
Well, that kind of makes sense, right? It is the conclusion of everything.
Yeah, I'll say why that's bold when you finish, but...
Yeah, okay. Says, I'm very excited for the audience to see it because it's consequential. It changes the way you think about certain things in Star Wars, changes the way you think about certain characters, and shows some really interesting core mythology stuff. I'm thrilled and I'm shocked.
Wow.
Yeah, now you can say it.
Well, before I say that, so when Sam Witwer speaks, about Star Wars, I listen.
Absolutely.
Sam Witwer is a fan from the start.
Yes.
Everything he says comes from his fandom.
Yes. He knows his Star Wars.
Not from his employment.
Right.
It's a passion job for him to be in Star Wars because he is such a fan. If you don't believe me, go follow him on Twitch when he plays video games. I've never been watching one of his Twitch streams and he doesn't talk about Star Wars. It just comes up. I mean, it's what he does.
Yeah. It's what we do, right? It's what it's the love of the franchise for all of us. And he is one of us.
Yes, he's definitely one of us. And and every time he does it, it's so natural. Like, it was just meant to go there.
Yeah.
You know, I was watching one of his streams. He was playing, what's that game? It's a turn-based strategy game. I can't even remember the name of it right now. But it has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Okay.
Like, not even in the least.
Right.
And the conversation devolves into Star Wars. And not even anything about Maul or what he's doing. Just about things going on.
Yeah.
So the dude's just a fan.
Yeah, for sure.
And a very, very knowledgeable fan.
Well,
I would not want to be in a Star Wars trivia competition against Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
I would lose in a heartbeat.
and you're talking about, you know, people.
I'm saying
us.
this in the episode we couldn't remember Warwick Davis's name, but
well, you got it. But you know, usually when there's a bunch of people in the room, it's you and me, people like us, people like the people listening, who are like the most knowledgeable in the room. Probably not if Sam's around. That's
right.
Yeah. But you're talking about his fandom. That the proof here is what he goes on to say. What may be my most favorite thing about this, what we're doing is Clone Wars is the last George Lucas produced Star Wars. To be able to finish George's story is tremendously meaningful to all of us. So that's really the big deal right there. How do you, I mean, you know what I mean? How do you, he's right. The Clone Wars is the last Star Wars that has been produced that George started. It's kind of profound when you think about it that way.
Yeah, and to consider that as the most called for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a save the sequel trilogy movement, but there was a save the Clone Wars movement.
That's for sure.
And that's not me bashing on a sequel trilogy. I love it for its own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Clone Wars, yeah, it's got a different special place in my heart.
For sure. And
so,
and Sam, you know, that statement right there just goes right into what you were talking about with his fandom. That's how he feels about it. So when he talks about, you know, what he said changes the way you think about certain characters and shows some really interesting core mythology. Yeah, wow. Because he knows his stuff. That is, it's going to be profound for all of those who are as into it as us, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, how do I want to say this? It's exciting to hear stuff like that coming out of someone like Sam.
Yes.
You know, to hear just anybody say that, like, oh, this is the, you know, some of the most profound stuff we've ever done, things like that. When Sam says it, it has certain meaning.
Yeah. A little more weight to it.
Yeah, because of his fandom.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like you said, he's one of us, and to hear one of us saying, like, dude, you're gonna freak.
Yeah. That
has me excited and wondering, like, whoa, what's gonna make me freak?
I know. Well, the lucky thing is we only got a few weeks to wait to find out. So
yeah, and it's especially crazy knowing we know how it ends up for so many characters out of this story arc that's coming.
Oh, for sure.
We know their end game.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going to be so crazy for us? There's got to be some moments with characters that we know what happens to them later, but we didn't know what happened to them then.
Exactly.
It's going to be a story arc that's going to have us living in the moment, not thinking about the future, and then at the same time going, wow, I totally understand why this went that way.
Exactly.
So that's what I see coming out of those kinds of comments. So that's exciting.
For sure.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
All right, so this is really like the Ahsoka episode, because while we're talking about the Ahsoka we're going to get later, we're still currently getting Ahsoka content.
Yes, we are.
So, of course, we got to talk about the Clone Wars. We're talking about Season 7, Episode 6. Deal, no deal?
I was looking for Howie Mandel. I don't know.
Yeah, well, initial thoughts. What do you think of this episode?
It's okay. Not bad. I think it was definitely a building episode. It's building towards something for sure. So
yeah, I was like, the way I felt was like, we're definitely in the middle, you know?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
There is no question about where we are in the timeline. This is how the middle goes.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to venture to say like filler, but
no. You need this type of content for an arc. So, it just doesn't tend to be, the most, how do you put it? It doesn't make you jumping up and down and screaming. Yeah. And I think like the last arc, the Bad Batch arc, like this section of the story, we had a lot of action in there as well.
Right.
When it was still setting up, the Bad Batch and going to get Echo and stuff. So that kind of helped it along. With this one, it was kind of like the whole setup of the job they were getting, going to do. So,
right.
The one thing that I thought was kind of cool that, I didn't quite realize is that the ship, which I had a feeling was going to be like a static thing there in that hangar for these stories, it was like pretty much ready to go, and off they went. So that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool, but like it kind of took away from the whole dream thing, like
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
it's my dream to one day do this.
Yeah, the dream's closer than we
thought.
Day.
One day's tomorrow. I mean, just
exactly.
Literally one day.
This is true. Yeah.
I was hoping to one day be in the stars. No, seriously, I meant one day.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, I'm doing this tomorrow. Yeah, and she keeps telling Ahsoka to stick around. It's like, yeah, stick around, but I'm not going to be here. That's Yeah. So that was kind of a shocker to me that the ship was good to go. But okay, they got this job they're going to go do. Rafa chooses Trace as her backup pilot. uh, you know, and I guess we get to see why, because this is kind of like a dangerous job, and she didn't want to get her sister involved. But
Yeah, I could, and I guess rational thinking is not really Trace's strong suit.
no, not in this episode for sure. I got a feeling this is kind of the underlying thing we're going to be seeing throughout this arc is, and we talked about it last week, right? With the first episode.
Right.
I have a feeling that Trace is going to come to see light about Rafa one way or another. And, this is, all this is playing into it. So.
See, I felt that way initially.
Yep.
But with the way this episode developed, I think Rafa's gonna decide that she's heading down a wrong path.
It's possible.
Because of the amount of trouble they are getting in here.
Yeah.
She's been living in the underbelly of Coruscant, and in the underbelly of Coruscant, the gangsters and stuff she's dealing with is like loan shark type stuff.
Right. Yeah.
She just got involved with Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, she can talk her way into into situations that her poor planning can't cash for her and her crew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of difference between dealing with the neighborhood, thug.
Yeah, Pintu. Yeah.
Yeah. And dealing with a crime syndicate.
Yeah. This is big business, but
yeah,
in the black market, I guess.
Yeah. Going from the gambler in the bar to the mob.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I do like the way they presented all that too. Like you get to Kessel and everything's all nice and pristine.
I gotta say, I did want to
gorgeous
make mention,
countryside.
This is a part of Kessel we have never seen before. We've only kind of seen the mines in Rebels and then in Solo. It's only been like the mine part of Kessel, and it's like, wow, I had no idea Kessel was this nice. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was that nice. Probably all of it was that nice, and then they decided to start mining it.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious about Spice. Like, Spice never really piqued my interest.
Yeah.
But now that you see more of how they get it, it's like, are they in smoking or injecting coal?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's so my kids asked me the question, what is spice? I'm like, that's drugs in Star Wars. It's pretty much it. So
it's lithium.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it was funny to see the look of surprise and shock when what they thought was all those droids mining the spice. Ahsoka says, no, those are people. So
yeah, it was what did Rafa say, local workers or something like that?
Yeah.
It was I think the word is slaves.
Slaves, yes. And I actually wrote this down. She goes, "Oh, it can't be. The Republic would never stand for that." And then I thought it was interesting, Ahsoka's reply, which I don't know verbatim, but it was, yeah, you would kind of think so, wouldn't you? Because in past seasons of the Clone Wars, we've seen where Ahsoka's had to deal with, while working with the Republic, and she sees the Republic not shut that kind of thing down because whatever system they're on is an ally to the cause, and they don't want to ruffle the feathers. So, kind of interesting, kind of a nod back to that sort of thing that we saw in the past.
Yeah, I mean, if you're providing a valuable resource or funding or, you know, they probably are using the spice in the Republic.
Yeah, absolutely.
For medical reasons.
Right.
You know, that's the funny thing about criminals is they don't really lie to you. You know, they bend truths, things like that, but
exactly.
They use the truth against you.
Yes. And
like the spice is used for, you know, important medicines that are saving lives every day in the Republic. He ain't lying, most likely.
Exactly.
He's lying about what they're doing right there.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's bending truth. He's using truth to, you know, get you to think, oh, maybe he's right.
It's all the intention behind it, right? I mean, it's the same thing that, like, we, you know, on the world stage here, right? You know, poppies can be turned into heroin, or they can be turned into morphine. I mean, they can be used for good or bad. So, that's the, you know, the likeness that I took from it. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess opium is that comparison right there. You know.
Yeah.
All the bad things it can be used for, but all the good things it can be used for as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting that we have gotten to go to Kessel so what almost seems like frequently over the last couple years.
I know.
And it was just nothing but mystery before.
I know. I mean,
this is what scares me about the whole like Yoda conversation, you know? It's like once you go there,
I get it.
Can you stop yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess it does give us a little insight into 3PO's comment in episode 4, you know. We'll take us to the spice mines of Kessel, smashed into who knows what.
Right.
You know, but we really had no context for that. Okay, Kessel, bad place. That's all we knew. So now we kind of got a clearer picture. And I think the clearest picture of all that we ever got was from Solo. So,
yeah, I'm guessing that the Empire, you know, in the time of the Empire, maybe droids were utilized a little more.
Yeah, maybe
for doing all that.
Although I would not put it past the Empire to
droids and Wookiees.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, stuff that they don't like anymore.
Yeah,
the droids. Sure. I mean. One thing I was surprised about was Solo, and not trying to go down too much of a rabbit hole here, but it seems like Kessel would have been a good spot for like all them B1s, you know, like.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, just being controlled by a central, that central office that L3 tore apart. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it would have. It would have made total sense just to like, it's already made. We can use it for stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So I've got to say, my favorite part of this episode was a little, I don't know if you call it a callback or foreshadowing or whatever you'd want to call it, but a scene that made me instantly think of Return of the Jedi and how this scene mirrored it, and it's almost a note for note the same, but the opposite.
Yeah.
I'd like to point that out here real quick. I think this is kind of cool. So this is the scene I'm talking about in the episode of the Clone Wars here.
Who was on board that transport? Oh, just some rookie pilots, apparently on their first maneuvers. I was just about to send a detachment to arrest them. Should I send a detachment, General? No, it's nothing.
I think by now we all know what scene I'm talking about. That this is mirroring in Return of the Jedi, but we're gonna play it anyway.
Where is that shuttle going?
Shuttle to Dirian. What is your cargo and destination?
Parts and technical crew for the Forest Moon.
Do they have a code clearance?
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out. I was about to clear them.
I'm endangering the mission. I shouldn't have come.
It's your imagination, kid. Come on, let's keep a little optimism.
Shall I hold?
No. Leave them to me. I will deal with them myself.
As you wish, my lord. Carry on.
You know, it's funny that you say mirrors them, and they're exact opposites, right?
Yes.
Because you listen to the Clone Wars one, the music in the beginning there is very whimsical,
Exactly. Yes.
and then you go to Return of the Jedi, and it's all foreboding.
Yeah.
You know, very, very light. Like, whatever. It's, he knows Ahsoka's there.
Yes.
But yeah, the whimsical music that really reminded me of like the Droids theme.
Kinda, yeah. But I mean, I think it's all to show the dichotomy of who Anakin was and what he became. I mean, it was all light, kind of playful, because we all know the shenanigans that were going on that ship. What was it? The Silver Angel or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right before Anakin asked, who's on that ship? And once Anakin realizes, oh, hey, that's Ahsoka. Ahsoka acknowledges just through a look, it'd have been nice if there was audio for us to play, of that. But anyway,
right.
They realized they made a connection with each other, and Anakin lets her go. He says, no big deal. Let him go. Whereas the Vader scene, I'll deal with them myself. That's, I don't know. And originally here, right, we have Yularen ready to send a detachment to arrest them, whereas Piet was like, I was about to let them through. Shall I hold?
Right.
Every part of it is opposites, and it's like that was done so well, in my opinion, and I think it was done specifically for all of us to catch. So that was cool.
Oh, absolutely. It was, what I couldn't help but think about after that, though, is Ahsoka and Anakin's connection there, right?
Yeah. And
their, like, kind of separation at this point. They're both kind of like, meh.
Yeah?
Ahsoka's like, get us out of here.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, she's still going through stuff, right?
Yes.
She's still figuring things out for herself. I think this arc, when it comes to Ahsoka, is all for that. I mean, it's to show us that she has gone through stuff on her own.
Right. And what I was going for is you can see how they both he's like, let them go. He wants to let her go, let her do her thing.
Absolutely.
They
yes.
care for they care for each other.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why she's like, we got to get out of here. Like she's having emotions right there.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, like okay, she knows if they were to be detained, this would just drag out what she's going through and make it take longer and be worse.
Right.
And he knows that's the way it would be for her, so therefore he lets her go. So yeah.
Right. And what I was going to say is like this whole interaction here has so much more weight after Rebels.
Oh yeah.
When she crosses blades with Vader.
Yeah. Or that initial moment. The apprentice lives. Yeah. Or survived. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, and her look of shock at the realization that it's Anakin,
yes. Now they do have interaction after this and before that.
I know.
Right? But yes, there is that.
Yeah, I know that, but this is our first taste of interaction after that and after we've seen the events of Rebels.
True.
So seeing this interaction now is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I know where this goes.
Yes.
I know where it was. This middle ground is like really weird.
Yes. But I like it that we can, we can kind of, this, if it's like a puzzle piece, right? We kind of have an idea where it's going to fit, that's kind of cool. We got a couple more pieces that we're going to get still, we're figuring things out, but it's kind of, we know about where it's got to go. So it's kind of cool.
Right. It's that feeling again of watching, Anakin's story after you already know Vader's.
Yes. Yes.
So this is kind of the fun part about Star Wars jumping around is you get these middle chapters that fill in the blanks. You know where it's headed. And this one is special because you know what was before it. You know what was before it. You know what's after it.
Yeah.
So this middle, there's a weird tension.
This is kind of like the how we got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like it. I gotta say, that scene was the highlight for me because that was the ooh,
Yeah. Anything else like stand out in this episode to you? Like,
not a bunch. I mean, we were left on a cliffhanger. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
They're caught in a tractor beam. Patrol ships in front of them. They're stuck.
I thought that was kind of cool. The way that they were able to hold them like that. You got these, 3 ships or whatever that come out and can hold a ship in place.
Yeah.
Like very cool pirate-like tools,
Yeah, totally. So I'd say we are headed towards the climax here. I'd say by the end of the next episode, we're going to be, pretty deep into, some I don't know, some sort of escape or something going on. So
yeah, what do you think of like the Trace and Rafa dynamic, and Ahsoka being thrown in there in this argument that they have over transporting this spice to the Pikes, and how that plays out? Like they decide to just, well, they didn't decide. Trace just decided to just dump the spice.
Yeah. That was. Well, you could tell that she had just one thing on her mind. They made that clear.
Yeah.
They're not taking.
I'm
my
not
ship.
losing my ship.
Yep. And I don't think she knew exactly what to do in that moment, so she just did something, and it was definitely the wrong thing. So I don't know. I did think it was a little odd that you can just like dump cargo in the middle of hyperspace. Like you're going that fast. It's like,
Yeah. Well, we have this discussion all the time about, science and Star Wars. Science and
True.
Star Wars don't go together.
No, they don't. That's for sure.
I mean, let's just assume that was slow motion.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
But it definitely looked like they dropped it out of a helicopter, not out of a jet.
Exactly. I think this is just again set up for Trace to come to grips with what, who her sister is and what she's got to do about it. So, again, I don't know. I'm not sure if she's going to part ways with her sister, or if, like you said, her sister comes around. That's being the show that it is. That might happen, but
I feel weird thinking that they're going to end, with these two kind of, splitting, parting ways almost,
Well,
I would think that would have, if they were going to kind of part, that would have happened already, and there would be like a reunion. Given the nature of this show.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't foresee this show like, kind of leaving this pair on a bad note,
You're probably right about this. I guess I'm I guess I'm dragging in like, how I have a tendency to think that some people, like Rafa tend to be for real. You know what I'm saying? It is usually you just got to be like, okay, see ya, kind of. And
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm dragging in there with it, I guess. So,
yeah. And like I said, I just think that given the way this show is kind of, every arc kind of ends on a good note.
Yeah.
There's not too much, like ending on a bad, sad moment,
Well, I mean,
the sad stuff happens in the middle of the arc, not at the end.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think it would have to be sad though either, because I think Rafa likes that lifestyle. If they get out of this jam, the Pikes get taken care of somehow, thanks to Ahsoka, and they get back to Coruscant, Rafa can like resume that lifestyle that she has. She still has her little business, the front for whatever operation she has going. And Trace can move on. She's got her ship, right? She's going to go be, pilot with fastest ship around, So, tends to be a Star Wars thing too, doesn't it?
Everyone thinks they've got the fastest ship.
Exactly. But you know what I'm saying? Could be something like that. That wouldn't necessarily be sad, It would just be kind of like, all right, cool. It's time for me to branch off on my own. You do your thing. I'm going to go do mine. It's all good.
Yeah, maybe there's a peaceful understanding there, and they kind of part.
Yeah,
but not part.
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna go do my thing. You go do your thing. We'll get together on holidays. Like
Star Wars holiday, Life Day.
Life Day, yeah. See you next Life Day.
Exactly.
Yep.
They'll all go party on Pisana. How's that?
Yep. Little do they know, the next one they're getting together for is Empire Day.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah. Could happen.
Either way, I mean, I think it's fun to speculate like this. That's for sure. So, in the end, we'll find out one of us was right. or wrong.
I will say one thing. Like I did, if I had to say anything, not necessarily bad or negative, but if I had to say like the downer for me this episode is I did find Trace and Rafa at a time in this episode to be a little insufferable.
I get what you're saying.
I'm like, oh man, there's no way that you tout this rough and tough lifestyle growing up down here, and then you're so naive to what crime is.
Yeah. I would say this, though, about that, is that, this is the big leagues. They are used to the petty stuff.
Yes.
So they are naive about the big
They're going
leagues.
from picking pockets to bank heists,
Exactly. So.
And I get that, but I felt like even Rafa's lack of understanding for what she's getting into was like, wow.
Yeah, that is true. I will agree with that.
Especially because she was kind of like, this is like, kind of like saying like, this is the big time, like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're going to have a little, a banquet, and she's like, yeah, stick with me, but she really doesn't know what she's doing anyway. That's.
Yeah. You're going from like, okay, you forget to pay, they beat you up, to, okay, you don't have what they need, they disappear you.
Yes. Yeah. And in no pleasant way, for sure.
Right. But yeah, like I said, it was a minor gripe. I still like the characters. Just that little middle portion, I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I feel like they would understand it a little more than this.
Yeah. And
I understand like underestimating what you're doing.
Yes.
Not really thinking you were getting into something like that heavy. But this was like straight up, they had no idea what they were getting into.
Exactly. And to be fair, Ahsoka, she fed that a little bit. Because it's the, if Ahsoka would just say, look, I was a member of the Jedi Order. That's how I know everything I know. That would kind of like just put it out there, and there wouldn't be all this secrecy of, I think there would just be less arguing between Rafa and Ahsoka if she just said, look, this is who I was.
Yeah, I think at this point, right, though, like if she says she was part of the Jedi Order, they might like throw her out with the spice containers.
Yeah, maybe because, they're not fans. That was made clear in the last episode. That's true. So, okay, but so I do understand why she's hiding it, but they are still wondering how she knows everything she knows, and
Yeah, and we know this is going to come out.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I'm actually surprised it's taking as long as it is to come out, but
yeah, I know.
But at the same time, Ahsoka's trying to escape that.
Yeah. Yeah, all this stuff is supposed to be more about Ahsoka than, Ahsoka
Than
Jedi.
Trace and Rafa.
Well, yeah, for sure. Or the fact that Ahsoka was a Jedi and all that. It's got to be Ahsoka as a person herself, not necessarily the fact she was a Jedi.
Right.
Overall, good episode.
Yeah.
I think it's setting us up for something really good next episode. That's the way it seems to me.
Yeah, because they're in a bad spot. We know Ahsoka's going to get out of there. We just don't know how.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, good episode. Digging the predicament Ahsoka seems to have gotten herself in after leaving the Jedi.
yeah, for sure.
And then, we all know the end game here, where this is all headed. We all know generally, this is all leading to, Siege of Mandalore stuff, and not with this arc, obviously, but like this season is headed that way.
Yes.
So there's going to be some
some things for Ahsoka in this arc, I believe, that are going to play a role in how she acts going forward.
That would make sense. And with the way Sam Witwer is talking about all of that stuff, Ahsoka's going to need some more experience under her belt in order to handle it, I think. So this is probably good to play into all that. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, having to escape from one of the largest crime syndicates in the galaxy is going to be a good test.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. But we're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.